It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Fast-paced, white-knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue. Get over to Joe's today. Do yourself right with a little indoor kart racing at Joe's Karting. Find them online, joeskarting.com, and while you're there, you can check out the Joe's Karting parts store. Now, the easiest way to do it is email Buddy or give him a call. Give Tracy Weber a call also. They're the two guys that run the parts store, and they're going to take care of you for any parts you need. Not only race car parts. That is their big deal. That's what they're trying to help out the race community. Save them a couple of bucks, make it convenient for you to be able to get that part. But you can also order parts for your everyday consumer vehicle. So while you can find it on the internet and you can find it at various locations, maybe you're saving it for a buck or two by going to Rock Auto or Amazon or whatever. But you're supporting a local business by going through the Joe's Karting parts store. Find them online, joeskarting.com. We have a huge show lined up for you today. In fact, we're going to have to kind of skip over the Vegas recap on the air. We're going to do it for online, but we're going to skip over it for on the air. So if you want to hear our Vegas recap and our thoughts from Vegas, make sure to go to the YouTube channel and pop open that up at about 9 o'clock when we get it uploaded onto the YouTube channel. Just search Front Stretch Radio March 10th. Jack Dover, Stan Cisar. It'll all pull up there, and you can hear the full race recap from that. But we have such a big show lined up for you. We got to jump right into Doc Riley from the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels Car Show. He's going to preview everything that's coming up this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the CHI Center. Then we're going to talk with Jack Dover in turn 2 about his season, any changes he's making, the fun kind of things that we don't get to hear about a lot of. And then at turn number 3, we sit down with Stan Cisar and Stu Snyder. They're both going to help us preview the Sprint Series of Nebraska, which is back in 2019, kicks off in a couple of weeks down in Camden, Missouri. And then we're going to preview the Carpetland Nebraska 360 Sprint Series powered by Malvern Bank. We're going to we're going to talk about both of those schedules. A lot of sprint car action going on in the Midwest in the next 4 months, pending weather changes.
If we ever get started.
Yeah. So that's coming up in turn number 3, and then we will preview today's race at ISM Raceway, formerly known as Phoenix Raceway, and we'll announce the Crewman for a Day contest presented by Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners. All right, Dirk, so let's talk about what happened over at Vegas, Las Vegas Raceway. Vegas showed exactly the reason why it was able to get one of the races away from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Did you see that crowd on hand? I mean, it was nice. It wasn't great, but it was nice.
Well, it was definitely a little more of an interesting weekend than what I thought it would be. I mean, they started out with the K&N West cars on the dirt out there, and of course went in through the Xfinity race and had a good overtime Xfinity race that Kyle they had the truck race too. So
yeah. It was a busy weekend at Las Vegas.
Yeah, especially for guys like Kyle Busch. And if he hadn't crashed his primary car, he might have had a real good shot at winning making the sweep.
You might be thinking of last weekend.
Oh, was it?
Kyle Busch.
He didn't go to the back this time?
Well, he got a pit road speeding penalty, so he had to go to the back.
That's why he went to
in
the back.
stage
you
2.
are correct. Yeah, he started towards the front.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
I'm sorry.
I know, twice.
S-O-R-R-Y. Sorry.
Twice is too much. It's okay.
But, no, I mean, Harvick was on the pole, but was not fast in any of the practices. Struggled all weekend. He just really went out. Like he said, you flat-footed all the way around, and he got his to stick, and he was in the draft. And interesting thing in qualifying is they all sat on pit road until about 35 seconds to go in that last segment, and then they all took off, and the 2 Hendricks cars, the 88 of Alex Bowman and the 9 of Chase Elliott, did not make it to the start-finish line for their laps to count in qualifying. Otherwise, Alex Bowman would have been on the pole.
Yeah. And Harvick said it in this post-race interview. He said, I can't wait until we're about 6, 7, 8 races in on this new package, and we can get a bit of a baseline and start building from there. He says, now we come to the racetrack, and we go out there for the first practice, and it's frantic to make changes and to figure out what we can do. You got a day to kind of think it over and make adjustments, and then you go out for practice again and see what you've got. But it'll be nice when we get that baseline. And if he's this fast, being that frantic, you begin to worry for the competition, what he's got lined up for you come race 10, 12, 13 of the schedule.
Well, Harvick's over the last several years, or at least since he's been with Stuart Haas, has not always had the real short run speed, but he's always been, a good car after 10 or 12 laps.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't this time. That was just, he was way out to lunch, and he said as much. Kyle Busch's interview after the race was interesting. He said you're flat-footing it around the track, and when you get up behind somebody, you do your best to suck up. But if the cars are, the faster cars, when you get up to them, the dirty air just kills you coming off those cars, so you can't pass them. So, NASCAR, I didn't read the article. I did see an article, though, that they had that NASCAR wasn't happy with what they had on the racetrack the other day. So we'll see what little changes and what little tweaks they do make to it. But a bunch of pit road penalties again. Only one lug nut, 95. Matt DiBenedetto had a lug nut. 2 lug nut
issues.
Who was the other one?
I believe it was the 47 of Priest, but don't quote me on that. I'll have to log in and look at it. But there was when I looked at the penalty report this week, it was definitely 2 people.
I was just thinking there was just the one.
But the action on the track, I was really interested because, like you mentioned, there wasn't a lot of accidents. It was a very
zero.
Well, not saying a lot. There was zero. There was
zero.
No accidents whatsoever.
No on-track incidents for the first time since 2002.
And it's a bit of be careful what you wish for, because 2 weeks ago at Daytona, we were talking about 19 cars finishing the race, and it was destruction city. I mean, it was carnage. And I really, I walk away from the Daytona 500 honestly a little bit worried that if we continue to destroy cars like that, how many of these owners are going to be able to afford to continue to put these disposable cars out there? I know that's an unrealistic worry, but it's what I worry about. And then you come to a race, Atlanta was a little bit better. I think we had 1 or 2 accidents, no major damages, but then a race like Las Vegas that there wasn't any damage. And the cars are unstable, and these guys are doing a tremendous job keeping them underneath of them. You see sometimes where they'll come through the corners and that car will completely wiggle right up the track, and the driver's chasing it all the way up the track and is good enough to be able to keep it off the wall. But I know that NASCAR fans were overly excited at Daytona for the number of wrecks, and then it got to be a little bit too much with how long the wrecks were taking, and then we don't have any at Las Vegas. In 3 races, we had a complete night and day of carnage. And, there is a level of excitement that comes along with wrecks, and a level of, thank God he's okay. But the more wrecks there are in a reasonable area, the more excitement there is. And I personally love any opportunity the caution can come out, especially the last 2 races, because those restarts have been phenomenal.
Well, I do need to correct you on one thing. These cars are so stable that the drivers are the ones, when they do their wobbling and stuff in the corner, that's just plain and simple driver error. These cars have so much downforce with that monster spoiler and those air ducts on the front that, you almost can't knock them off with a truck. So stability is not an issue, and they're not going to speed to where it can be an issue.
Well, but they're still loose. I mean, you're still seeing these guys wiggle through the corner.
That's their error. I mean, you look at the other guys, like Harvick said, he just had it flat-footed his whole lap.
Yeah.
If you can flat-foot around the track, you are not in an unstable race car.
Well, he was the one I'm actually thinking of. It was during the race, so maybe it was just the way the air was hitting the front of his car or whatever, but he got into the corner and it completely washed up the track. I saw Kyle Busch do it. I saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr. do it. I mean, there was plenty of guys that...
Stenhouse was doing it when Eric Jones was trying to pass him and taking the air off his spoiler.
Well, and maybe Stenhouse is a bad example, because Stenhouse's car's usually been so bad.
Because they went around the track 3 times side by side, and finally Jones got a half a car on him, and that's when Stenhouse had all kinds of problems.
That was another thing. I'm glad you brought that up, that I really did like about Las Vegas. If this new aero package continues to be the way it is, I think the tickets at the racetrack are going to start skyrocketing for sales, because we sit at Kansas and Iowa, and we're able to see the entire track, and we're able to see the field as it's going around and watch the battles on the track. You're victim to whatever the camera wants to show you when you're sitting at home on your couch. there was a lot of battles going on throughout the field all race long at Las Vegas, but the TV's focuses mostly on the front guys and the big name guys.
I was going to say that the ones they did show were usually when it was a 3-car battle with at least 2 of the bigger names in there, 10th, 11th, and 12th, something like that. But you didn't see any of the serious racing, from 25th, 26th, and 27th, where those guys are all racing for a position.
Yeah.
Especially halfway through the race this week when there was I think 22 or 23 cars on the lead lap, and all those guys were racing to be the first guy a lap down when they came to the segment end to get their lucky dog and get back on the lead lap.
At the conclusion of Stage 1, Kevin Harvick picked up the win. Kyle Busch came home second. Joey Logano third. Denny Hamlin fourth. Eric Jones fifth. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., even though I just kind of teased a little bit and said he usually has a bad car, he had a very good day at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He came home sixth. Martin Truex Jr. seventh. Chase Elliott ninth. Daniel Suarez ninth, and Brad Keselowski came home in the 10th spot.
That would make Chase Elliott 8th for
correct.
Those of you that
Truex
can count.
7th. I lost track of where I was at there. Then stage number 2, Joey Logano picks up the win. Harvick came home second. Truex third. Keselowski fourth. Hamlin fifth. Elliott sixth. Eric Almirola 7th, Stenhouse 8th, Alex Bowman 9th, and Jimmy Johnson with the 10th place finish in stage number 2. The way it ended up rolling out for the conclusion of the race looked like we were gearing up for a great battle between Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski, but we ran out of laps, and boy did Brad give it everything he had that last 2 laps.
Well, and what Brad said is he goes, I was able to get by Joey because of the bad air off of lap traffic, and Joey was able to turn around the favor and get by me because of the bad air.
It was a great final 50 laps. I was really happy with that battle between those guys, and not only them, but Harvick and watching Kyle Busch come back up through the field. That was a lot of fun to watch.
It was a pretty good race overall.
Yeah.
I think things could have got changed up a little bit if we would have had a yellow here or there. Would have changed the complexity of the race.
Yeah.
But it was still good to watch. There was, especially in the first segment, there was some interesting pit strategy. Like the first segment, Brad Keselowski just took 2 tires and went from 10th to 1st. Or second, I think. First, he did first when he was on the pole for the start of the second segment. And, I kept thinking, boy, is he going to drop like a stone? But he dropped to about 5th or 6th and then just motored around there in 5th or 6th with just 2 tires.
Kurt Busch in that one machine at Chip Ganassi Racing used the same strategy for the final stage.
Right.
Got out there and led quite a few laps. After being marred back in the mid-teens, he ended up finishing 5th on the day.
Yeah, and he's now had 2 good runs in that car. I believe he had a 3rd place at Atlanta, I think it was. So he's got a little life in that number 1 car.
Following through the field, Joey Logano picks up the win. Brad Keselowski comes home second for a Penske 1-2. Kyle Busch, after a pit road speeding penalty, able to recover to a 3rd place finish. Probably had one of the faster cars on the day, but that pit road speeding penalty really hurt him. Kevin Harvick comes home in 4th, and like I mentioned, Kurt Busch comes home in 5th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with a top 10 finish in 6th. Eric Almirola 7th. Martin Truex Jr. 8th. Chase Elliott 9th, and Denny Hamlin gets a top 10 finish.
A lot of Fords up there.
Yeah, really no big losers on the day as far as kind of your big normal names.
Ryan Blaney had the lug nut issue where he lost a valve stem early in the race and got down a couple laps and could never get recovered. He had a fairly fast car, but he just couldn't get back to race. Finished
22nd on the day. Jimmy Johnson finished 19th. Daniel Suarez 17th. Ryan Preece, who had a great weekend going last weekend before being involved in an accident, he finished 25th. So that's kind of how our boy Landon Castle finished 32nd on the day in the Manscaped Chevrolet, which was probably one of my favorite sponsors I've heard of in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? What was their saying? The number 1 brand below the belt.
Yeah. The only one I can think of right off the top of my head that beats that was monkey butt paste for truck drivers.
Oh, my gosh.
That was on a Nationwide or a Busch car several years ago.
Still to come in the show, Jack Dover stands Cisar, and we will preview today's race at ISM Raceway, as well as announce the 5-week contest for the Kansas Speedway May race, presented by Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners. Joining us on the phone now is one of the guys that is in charge of setting up this year's World of Wheels car show at the CHI Center, happening this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, March 15th, 16th, and 17th. Doc O'Reilly joins Doc Riley joining us for the O'Reilly World of Wheels car show coming up again this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Doc, how you doing, sir?
Doing great, man. Can't wait to get back to Omaha.
Yeah, we're going to have some white stuff for you because I can't imagine it's going to be cleaned up in the next couple of days. But, that's just the way it goes. I'm sure you're dealing with plenty of that white stuff in Chicago right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's just one of those things. It's wintertime, but, the convention center will be nice and toasty and lots of great things going on during our 3-day run for the World of Wheels.
Talk a little bit about the 3-day run coming up in Omaha. You guys have a lot going on, and I'm personally excited about 2 big events that you guys have coming up this weekend. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on Friday.
Well, the big thing on Friday, we just kind of kicked the show open off with America's Finest Hot Rods, Customs, trucks, motorcycles, got a lowrider section, so it's all about cars, but also some of the people behind it. We've got a good lineup of some great custom vehicles from days gone by. And also on Friday, we'll be welcoming WWE superstar Becky Lynch, who's probably one of the hottest things in pro wrestling right now. So that kind of kicks things off for a 3-day run.
And these custom cars, they're going to be there all weekend long, so you're going to have the opportunity all weekend to be able to see these cars. I mean, when you talk about just a beautiful sight, you can't imagine walking into a giant convention center and seeing all the glamour and the glitz just shining off of the chrome and the beautiful paint jobs of these cars.
Absolutely. This is really a collection of people's individual taste in their vehicles. So you bring custom cars in. A 78 Dodge Monaco wasn't much back in the day, but, you spend a couple of years shaping it out the way you want to, have a little vision there. You can turn it into something that'll turn people's heads. I think one of the great things is this kind of takes us back through time. We always kind of go back and look at some things that worked back in the good old days, 50s, 60s, and 70s that we thought were cool, and they kind of get resurrected a little bit as people put kind of a modern spin on cars. So, there's not one vehicle that's identical all the way through the show. Motorcycles are big. We're going to have a special motorcycle section, and, it really is a celebration of, the American hot rod, the American custom car, and there's really something for everybody.
Now, I'm assuming you've been doing this for several years or decades, maybe. I've been around cars my whole life and have been around for a long time. But what do you think of the new fad that's kind of showing up the last few years where they don't do any body work or paint to these cars? They just maybe hit them with a quick buff and throw some clear coat on them and let the rust seep through and everything.
Well, I think there's something to be said about the restoration or even just survivor cars that were cool back in the day that may just have maybe just a couple of thousand miles on them and have kind of stood the test of time, and people still enjoy them, get out and drive them around a little bit. And I think there's a lot to that. Kind of just have the car as is. Sometimes you'll update brakes and things of that nature. It may look like an old car, but it has all the modern kind of conveniences. And, with the electronic fuel injection right now and different engine technologies, you can have what looked cool back in the 50s, but what runs right now, with the latest things. One of the great inventions ever was the air conditioner. Now people, if you got a street rod to anything else, man, you can throw one of those in there for a couple $100 and be able to drive that car, no matter where you go. So you also see a lot of people that have that unique, vision, where they bought a car back in, the 1970s, and it's always just kind of been with them a little bit. So it's been their pride and joy, and they do a little bit to kind of keep up a little bit, make sure it's roadworthy, and, kind of show it off a little bit. I think one thing we've seen in the last 2 years is a lot more customs coming in. People that may have, taken cars and have had maybe a builder's worked on it. Maybe they've done it themselves, but have kind of upgraded it a little bit and maybe put some modern styling looks to it. So, it really is the American automobile. The truck has been kind of a blank canvas for whatever a car owner wants to do with it.
Yeah, you'll see, and the interiors anymore are just full of creature comforts. You'll see, almost every guy, if they're going to redo a 32 Ford, it's now got a tilt steering wheel, and we know that wasn't around in 1932.
Yeah, well, and the drivability, you don't want to be bounced around with the old suspension that was on those cars. So now, it seems strange, but airbags, that was something that, 20 years ago we laughed at because it didn't really suit itself, but now that's the best ride you can get, just a nice airbagged out ride. And, there's things to make it more drivable. The shell of the car, the outside of the car can kind of retain that old look, but there's a an incredible industry that kind of is all around, the car and making it, whether it goes fast. For a long time, there was got to throw a mobile TV monitor in it,
Yep.
and don't know why you'd want to do that in your trunk, but, maybe you're tailgating, whatever, watching a Husker game, but I think it's been it's a wide open camp, wide open, way to look at things. And it amazes me that even wiring in cars right now, you can, from a painless wiring company, go out and buy the kit and be able to do something that used to take hours and frustration and, some busted knuckles to try to wire something through. And now you can just put that whole wiring loom right in there and run all the electronics you need off of it. Batteries have evolved. You just think back in the last 20 or 30 years, what's happened with automobiles, and the best of that kind of ends up in a lot of different cars.
I really love the aspect of the auto show, being able to walk around and talk to all of the owners, because every one of these cars has such a unique story. And, some of them can just be that they salvaged it from a barn on a farm, and them and their dad refurbished it, and the dad's now passed, and it's the son carrying it on with now his son. And I get to experience a lot of these stories on a weekly basis for one of our great sponsors, Quaker Steak and Lube, for their Thursday night car shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited to go see some of these cars that maybe don't make it over to that Thursday night but now they're going to come to this giant World of Wheels presented by O'Reilly's, and now I get to talk to these guys about their stories and what's behind all of their inspiration, and then being able to see some of the personality that they have in their own cars.
Yeah, it's really is amazing when you have someone that searches the United States for a particular year, make, and model, and then puts a different front end on it to make it more drivable. And then, it's not the original paint, but they would something completely wild, and kind of the stories behind that. It was in Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago, and a guy's got a 53 Mercury Pepto-Bismol pink, why? I mean, it looks good, but he said that was his wife's favorite color, and if he painted it that color, he could buy the car. So he did that, and he's got a great, beautiful showpiece that gets up and down the road. And my guess would be, even though it's sitting still, it looked like it was pretty darn comfortable. So there's all those kind of stories that go through there. A lot of people, don't play golf or whatever else, so they put a lot of money, time, and effort into putting something that they can drive to a Quaker Steak and Lube at a car show on a Thursday night, and maybe go on the Hot Rod Power Tour, or maybe drag race a little bit on a strip, or just kind of have that car to be able to go have some fun with.
It's a great piece of Americana.
It really is. It's pretty amazing, and I think that's one of the cool things, especially when you look at, we'll have some race vehicles that are there. Of course, the Midwest always known for some great racing, so we'll see some vintage rides there. And then we also have, the last couple of years, we've had a section of the car, the show itself, the Hop Up magazine's kind of gone back with those traditional hot rods, those things that may not look really great, but you threw them on a drag strip, and they could make it from point A to B in a pretty quick time. But they've got the old Robert's Dairy glass bottle that's an overflow for that they've kind of fashioned onto the car a little bit, kind of tidbits here and there. But traditional rods have really kind of captured the America's reimagination with the cars of the 50s and the original hot rods.
And now you go to the drag strip and you see a monster can filling that role.
Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely. Yeah. How times have changed.
Yep. We talked about Friday night. Well, everything's kicking off, but Saturday's the day I'm really looking forward to, and there's two big reasons, and I think you could probably sniff out what both of those reasons are.
Well, one, I would imagine, would be a visit from a guy who's living the dream, quite honestly, Tony Stewart. He's going to take a couple hours on Saturday afternoon from about noon to 2 o'clock and meet race fans. And Tony is really the happiest I've seen him in a lot of years. He's racing on the weekends at dirt tracks. He was down in Florida a couple of weeks ago and actually won a feature one night, so he was pretty stoked about that. And he's got a great, Tony Stewart Racing, a great organization there. So he loves meeting race fans, likes talking about their maybe shared experiences that they have, and he also likes to see the young racers that come by. And he kind of really engages. I was amazed. We were up in Milwaukee a couple weeks ago, and he would come through and, what kind of car do you race? And, someone 12, 13 years old is a junior dragster, or they're kart racing or whatever. He was very interested and engaged, so that'll be a lot of fun. Tony comes in, and there's never a dull moment with him, and he loves talking about racing, and really he's just living the dream.
Do you know any stipulations that Tony has? I know that it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I want to let fans know ahead of time. Is there a maximum number of items that he'll have autographed per person, and then is there photographs available or possible?
What Tony does is usually one autograph per person, one item to be done. does have photos that are with him. So if you've got some people that don't have a memorabilia, or you got a young kid that, it's his favorite driver, he does have those, and those are free. Bring your cell phone. We've got a person that'll be on stage taking pictures with you and Tony, and it's there's no additional charge for any of that. So
that's awesome.
We try to limit. I worked with him the other day, and the first 3 people, he said, "Man, we got to limit this to 1 or 2 items because that guy just had 9."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's we try to get as many people through as possible. And Tony's very gracious with the way he talks to people too. It's not just a handshake and next. He'll take some time to talk to people. But if you bring that one special item, that's good, and leave the rest of them in the car, because if not, you're just going to be holding them and end up with just one. So that's about the only stipulation. He doesn't. There's a few things he's kind of chuckled about a little bit. Some guy brought a part off of one of his old sprint cars that he hadn't seen in years, and they actually auctioned it off in a benefit auction, and Tony was trying to bid on it. And I thought, man, are you kidding me? You don't have enough of those, the old dirt track car. And he was pretty on it, hot. And by the way, he wasn't there, but he didn't win the bid. So that'll happen.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the other thing I'm really excited about that Saturday night is that at 7:00 there's a pinup girl contest.
Yeah, that's always
Shocker.
a lot of fun. I tell
Shocker.
You. Yeah. The pinup has become something in the last decade that's really found a resurgence, and it's not just a costume contest, and it's not like a bikini contest. These are ladies that look back at a grand time in the United States and have kind of empowered themselves and dress up like the pinup girls of old. Whether it's Rosie the Riveter or some of the other Hollywood stars that were that way. But it kind of goes back to a lot of years when people were overseas. Guys were in the wars and had an opportunity to take a look at the girl next door. And so the pinup contest is always a lot of fun. There's always everyone's got a unique story that's in it, and it's more than just playing dress up. Many of the girls live the pinup lifestyle.
Yeah. Now I was just going to ask, are these local girls here in our area, or are they girls that travel in this circuit?
Well, not necessarily on a circuit, and the person that runs it tries to keep it from being that way so that the local girls can come in. But I would imagine that there may be some girls from Kansas City, Chicago that come in for this contest. But that's a Saturday at 7:00.
I know there's a couple of local girls that's kind of their business model. One of them is named Bobby Joe.
Mm-hmm.
She comes down to Quaker Steak and Lube a lot. She's got a whole modeling
Sure.
page that is dedicated to classic cars and motorcycles and kind of that pinup theme where she's dressed up as Rosie the Riveter or Betty Boop or something like that.
Yeah, but we find that it really is happening an awful lot, and a lot of times it does get tied back to the car. The one girl told her story about the fact that she used to be able to, when she was a little girl, hand her dad wrenches when he worked on the family beater that they had, and she said that taught her some things about being self-reliant, thinking through some problems, and then with that she's just kind of gone into the pinup lifestyle. So she's kind of a gearhead, likes to get her hands dirty, but enjoys finding vintage clothing and having fun at car shows and doing contests. And it's not about necessarily winning. A lot of times it's just being able to come up and show the confidence that you have, and it's usually a lot of fun. I enjoy those shows.
Saturday may be my day, but I think Sunday's going to be a day for a lot of Americans that grew up watching the Dukes of Hazzard, as Bo Duke is going to be there on Sunday signing autographs.
Hey, it doesn't get any more St. Patrick's Day than John Schneider.
Yeah.
He's really a delightful guy. He has been at this a long time, and it's not just that he's the old Bo Duke. He doesn't look any different, now than he does then. But he's had quite a good career. He may even break into a little Irish song, quite possibly on stage. He's there for a couple of hours, and he doesn't really have a limit on what people can sign. But he does. He's another one of those kind of true American icons that we really enjoy hosting. And John really has always got a smile on his face. He comes in and he enjoys meeting the fans and hearing their stories about the Dukes. And he's and if you give him a couple of minutes, he'll sing you a song.
Any chance of a Daisy Duke sighting?
Not this time around.
There may be, if you play your cards right, and the front stretch booth may have some Daisy Dukes on.
Yeah, you never know.
But then again,
never
that
know,
might
but
scare people away.
Well, and then again, people from Council Bluffs are welcome to come to the show.
He's been here before.
I grew up in Omaha. I'm an Omaha boy.
There you
Well,
go.
I live in Council Bluffs, so you better believe I'll be there.
Okay. Never mind. I mean, there's probably some. It's probably changed a lot since I was running around back in the day.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that.
That was
O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Better left unsaid.
Yeah. We still got the same chuck holes when you were here.
Listen, I love living in Council Bluffs. There's days we drive around, and my girlfriend literally says to me, "You just can't defend that, can you?" And no, I can't.
Nope, not at all.
The O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels Car Show coming up this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the CHI Center. Get tickets in advance at, O'Reilly Auto Parts. There's discount tickets available at participating O'Reilly Auto Parts locations. General admission, regular price, $18. Kids 6 to 12 get in for $6. Kids 5 and under are for free, but you get $2 off of an adult ticket and $1 off of a children's 6 to 12 ticket if you get them at the O'Reilly Auto Parts locations throughout the Omaha metro area.
64 years and going strong.
Hey, it's a great deal, and it's a great opportunity to listen, there's nothing going on around Omaha these days. There's too much snow on the ground. Everything's canceled, and the races are being canceled because we were supposed to be dirt racing this weekend and then next weekend, and now that's all up. So, there's really nothing much going on, so you might as well come down to the O'Reilly Auto Parts show. Dirk and I are going to be down there interviewing driver after driver after driver after promoter after owner after car. We're going to interview so many people, we're going to run out of data space on our recorder, but that's going to be happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come on down. Find us at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Auto Show. Come meet Tony Stewart. Come meet Bo Duke from the Dukes of Hazzards, and then WWE superstar Becky Lynch. It's going to be a great, great weekend. And Doc, I can't say thank you enough for joining us on the show.
You betcha. We'll run into you guys, I'm sure, during the weekend.
I look forward to it. Thanks a lot so much for your time. Have a great day.
Take care.
Once again, that was Doc Riley of the O'Reilly World of
From
Wheels
Omaha.
Auto Show. Yeah, it's kind of funny that Doc Riley is in charge of setting up the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels Car Show. So make sure you get down there this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Friday, 3 to 10, Saturday, 10 to 10, Sunday, 10 to 6. And we did get approval. We will be, no technical issues. We will be broadcasting the NASCAR race in our booth on Sunday. And since we're there on Saturday, we might as well broadcast the Xfinity Series race at that's going to be the O'Reilly at the Auto Club Speedway. So best laid plans of mice and men. You know how that goes.
Yep.
All right, that's going to do it for us in turn number 1. Jack Dover around the corner, then Stan Cisar, and then we will preview today's race at ISM Raceway. Plus, we'll announce the Crewman for a Day contest at Kansas Speedway.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
Every driver is looking for the competitive edge, and fantasy racing is no different. Get the competitive edge on your league by subscribing to fantasyracingtips.com. Chad Robb, a member of the Fantasy Sports Writers Association, gives you great insight, statistics, and easy-to-understand information for each race. He'll give you the competitive advantage that'll put Benjamins back in your wallet. From DraftKings to season-long NASCAR fantasy leagues, Chad knows who you should take each race. Turn your fantasy season around at fantasyracingtips.com.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Rolling into turn number 2. It's time for another Red Oak Fabrication powder coating interview. Powder coating at an affordable price just down the road in Red Oak, Iowa. Get your chassis powder coated for just $275. That's for a bare frame. If you have any sandblasting that needs to be done or reworking, there's going to be a little bit more labor involved. Just give Jordan a call today, 712-623-4911, or email him, jordanf@redoakfabrication.com. Heard a horror story a couple of weeks ago of some sprint car guys that took their chassis up to a place in Des Moines. They were quoted $375, walked out of there with a bill for $590. And I said, well, Red Oak Fabrication could have done it for $275. You know, funny story. That wasn't the best thing to mention at the time. It did not help them in their anger at the overpriced bill they received. So, But now they know for next year they can go get their chassis powder coated for just $275 in Red Oak
Plus,
Fabrication.
Red Oak is closer than Des Moines.
Absolutely. Hey, Jack Dover sitting in with us. Boy, it's been a long time since we've had you on the show.
The last time we talked, we did it over the phone.
Yeah, because you can never come in. You're just a busy working man now.
Yeah.
Well, no, they
Wheeling
put
and
that fence
dealing.
around the studio, and he can't walk up the hill to the door anymore.
Exactly.
It's weird. I walked up to the front desk and I said, hey, I'm going to have a guest. And there was a do not let this guy in. And it was a picture of Jack
I
Dover.
don't come there no more.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me back, though.
Hey, it's good to see you.
At least we didn't see him on a milk carton.
What's new?
Oh, nothing. Just
Nothing.
Towing cars. And
Little different. There's a
Yeah.
couple of different things.
Work's busy right now, but
Yeah.
we've been.
But that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Triple D's Transport, right?
3D.
3D.
Same thing.
Have you been
Double
spending
3D.
any time in the shop, though?
None. No.
That's why he's got a crew this year.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're right on track for every other year. I mean, it's kind of like when people think of Jack Dover, it's winning driver and never on time.
You got it.
Yeah.
So wasn't on time today either.
2.5 hours late to our interview.
So you're putting your car on the auto show on the 14th of March, so Stan,
No,
you'll get it on the
no.
12th.
We got lucky. We had a spare car last year and we never raced it, so it's still brand new. So we're gonna take the spare car.
Yeah. We'll see. He's still going to want that one
A
rewrapped.
sigh of relief.
He'll decide on
You
March
know what the
11th.
thing
He's like,
is,
you know
though?
what? I think I want a different wrap for this car.
Stan would get it done though if everybody.
Oh, yes.
Yes, he would.
But that's the reason why Stan always has to do stuff late is
do
because
our-
drivers
we do
know
our
they
best.
can go to him.
That's why Stan doesn't have any hair left, though.
Hair's overrated.
I'm getting rid of mine.
There's only so many perfect heads, and the rest of them had to have hair.
Yeah. All right. So what's
Where were we?
new for this year? Same chassis, same. You can do same engines.
Same chassis, same engines.
Speedway. Who are we running for
Better
engines?
results.
Chris Moss,
Same
right?
lettering.
Speedway engines out of Lincoln.
'Kay.
And Spike chassis. I actually just got my chassis back. What day was it? Wednesday?
So take me back. Was this the chassis that you hated at the beginning of 2017, or was this?
No, this is a different.
Okay.
We ran Eagles all along, and then last year we switched to Spike chassis.
Okay.
And
And you had how many wins?
12 or 13, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, it was a good year.
Yeah.
And for being a new car, and we switched a bunch of stuff, actually. Wing manufacturers, motors.
Sponsors.
No. We
Oh, yeah.
got a couple more sponsors, though.
Yeah.
It's the same chassis as last year. We just had to send it off and get the safety bars put in it for
Okay.
this year.
Okay.
We got 2 new sponsors this year, Husker Diesel out of Gretna, Nebraska, and Volvo Trucks of Omaha.
Nice.
Does that mean there's a Volvo toter on the works, or what do we got
It's
going
in
there?
the works. Let's hope for a couple years down
And
the
is
road.
everybody coming back that was on the car
Yes.
last year?
Yep, everybody's back.
Liquid trucking.
I haven't
Are you
talked to that guy at Speedway Graphics
I was,
yet.
I was, I know him. I got an in. Although you might have a better in because you actually pay him for things.
He has personally delivered gas, though.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Stan ran out one night, and I had to go save him. Well, I volunteered to go save him.
Okay. Good 2018. You were able to claim the Nebraska 360 championship. Last time we talked, I thought you'd won 4 Nebraska 360 championships. Maybe it was 6.
I don't know.
You said it was
Maybe
like
it was
5, and I think it's actually 4.
I think it's 5.
I think Dennis had it on that. And that's another. If Dennis,
I think it's 5, or I could be confusing it with one of the 2 or 3 ASCS Midwest championships that he won before that. So let's put it this way: there was more years that he didn't win it
Then more years than I
than
did.
he did, and the reason the years that he didn't win it, it was because he went
Of a
someplace
wedding.
out of town. One was a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
One was he went out of town chasing big money at a race up north.
Or just
and,
bad luck.
Yeah, and last year it was just a terrible bad luck season. So those things happen.
We were actually leading 2 series this year at one point, the MSTS and Nebraska 360s, and here at the end of the year there was 2 races scheduled on top of each other, and I couldn't miss Nebraska 360s, otherwise I wouldn't get paid my money at the end of the year.
Dennis does a really nice thing where the guys
Loyalty,
that
yeah.
he pays for basically pays for loyalty, and the new point structure too is going to pay even more for loyalty.
Yeah, it's going to be more of it's going to be like almost like an appearance
Yeah,
payment.
Mhm.
As long as you make the races.
they're going to pay you to show
yeah,
up.
Yeah, you're going to get paid tow money for the previous race
Gotta
that
like
you were
that
to.
stuff.
So
Yeah. This year we're going to pretty much do the same thing. It's race around here in Minnesota, South Dakota, Missouri.
Go win the Jackson Nationals again.
I hope. All we
Chase
can
the
do-
money, huh?
All we can do is try. And that's about it.
That's it.
Yeah.
How many races?
65, I think.
That's about normal, and you'll probably get about
I was gonna say, you
45, 50 of them.
You got to think 10 or 12 of them are going to get
Yeah.
rained out or something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
Or they won't have the snow off the track yet.
that's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Yeah, well, that's in that 10 or 12 right off the bat. So be behind the 8-ball 6 races before he gets to start the car.
Jackson's paying like $3,000 to win. Had a bunch of shows up there, and I'll be driving the 81 car at those races. For Rick and Chris Bowers.
Okay.
And then on nights the 360's not running, you're going to climb into a 305 somewhere.
Yeah. We tried to schedule races every weekend. I think there's only one weekend we got off.
So we talked about this in a
What are you
previous segment on the nights that the Sprint Series of Nebraska races. Those are usually on an off night for the 360 series or any other races. So it's kind of an all-star 305 race because you get a lot of the 360 guys dropping in.
I think you will have
and
a bunch.
it is the best of the best at the SSN races.
So, I mean, you got me, Cody. I'm sure Stu will be there.
Yep.
Trevor. Tyler Drucke that's going to do some 360 racing this year.
Jason Martin.
Chad Cook, Jason Martin.
Adam Gullion.
Yeah.
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 It'll be a good show.
Well, okay, so going to be kind of hit and miss and jumping around a little bit, running some various tracks, and obviously going for points championship with the Nebraska 360s. Depending on how that's going, if you fall off, you'll kind of jump around and do some other things. If you're up there in contention, you'll continue to run it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Our biggest thing this year is just, like I said earlier, a couple months ago in our interview, I want to be more organized, and I think the more organized we'll be, the better off we'll be, and more wins we'll get.
Yeah.
Wins make championships. So
we've talked about this before. 17 was kind of a rough year for you, and kind of contemplating the retirement thing and just saying, I'm ready to get out of it. It's amazing.
I still should have retired.
It was frustrating. I think it was really frustration.
Yeah, but it's amazing how much different you are now. And you're just so much more excited and ready for the season.
Yeah, you're pumped right now.
Yeah.
It shows.
This is as excited as Jack Dover gets.
Well, then you'll be ecstatic.
You're going to have to spend some time in the shop, young man.
I know.
What's the Knoxville plans this year? 360s and the 410s currently?
Yep.
Or
No, we're going to do 360 and 410, and then we got that other driver coming over, driving for me for 2 months. And
That other driver.
Yeah, that other one.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Mr. Other Driver?
mystery man.
No, we can.
Yeah, your mom let that slip, and I was like, he flat out told me Brody was not coming over here.
Yeah, he is.
And she goes, well, that's not like Jack to say something like that. He knows.
When we talked, it wasn't like official yet.
Yeah.
It's all good now. So.
It'll be good to see Brody back
Yeah.
over here.
I think he's got.
I'm a little hurt.
Is he an Aussie or what's?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Can we get him? Let's get him on the show.
Oh, he wants to come.
Yeah.
He's been on it before.
Oh, yeah. It was a great interview.
Yeah.
He's a good he's
Hard
a good
to
interview.
understand.
Funny guy.
Well, so am I at times.
He's a very good talker. And I think we got like 16 or 18 shows scheduled for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then his last show is going to be the 410 Nationals. And then
Oh, that's a good one.
He's going to go home that Sunday.
Okay.
Is
So
he
you
bringing
thi-
the 410
okay,
motor over with him?
He's going to rent one
Oh, he's going to rent one
from
okay.
somebody here.
Can we take a bet if he makes that flight home on that Sunday?
He'll make it home.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's too expensive to miss.
That is an expensive ticket to fly back to Australia. That's because we've talked about that before. That's about a 24-hour trip.
It is. The last year I did it when I left Omaha and I landed in Australia, it's 23 and a half hours.
How big a layover did you have? Did you go here to San Francisco to Hawaii and over?
Just from here to Dallas to LA, and then I left LAX, went somewhere in Australia, and then I flew to Brisbane.
So you went LAX straight to
So
Australia?
you didn't stop in
Yeah,
you didn't stop
I got
in Hawaii.
off like the plane at 5 different times.
Jeez.
Well, you were driving Brody's car in Australia.
Yeah.
And he's going to drive your car over here.
Yep.
So that'll be...
That's cool.
So when the last time I went to Australia, I flew there, and everything got there but my clothes. And the day I flew in, we had a race that night.
Yeah.
And I had my seat and
And
my
your-
suit and everything with me, and that was the only thing that showed up. So I got lucky.
Wow. So
Can't say
Knoxville
bomb on an
Nationals going to
airplane.
race the 410s again
Yep.
and the 360s again. Any other big races you're planning on hitting?
Probably do the Jackson Nationals again. Actually, we're going to.
Look forward-
This year we'll be in the 81 car at the Jackson Nationals.
I bet you're glad to
Yeah,
see the
sorry, you're
ASCS
right.
National Tour coming back to Eagle Raceway.
Yep.
Because he had a National Tour win down there.
Trying to think. I'll be in the 81 car either the first Eagle race or the last one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll be in the 81 car at the end of the year.
That's exciting to have the 360s back at
It's
Eagle.
going to feel so weird going back there.
Yeah. Put on a great show. That way we can maybe get him back a couple more times.
We're going to try.
Yeah, as if I needed to say that. You going to race anything else besides a sprint car? Hop into a late model once or twice? Go win the Knoxville Nationals?
You buying one?
You don't want anything I could afford to buy. May not be the most safe.
Dan could only afford a mud turtle.
Dan, I was going to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. He might come up with a mud turtle for you to hop into.
Follow him on
That's our new
Facebook,
term for today.
Jack Dover Racing. Search for him on the internet. What's your website? JackDoverRacing.com?
Yes, sir.
And then
Facebook, of course.
Yep. All right, Jack Dover Racing. Find him on online, JackDoverRacing.com. Follow him on Facebook. First race of the year is?
I think March 30th.
You go down to Cameron?
March 29th.
29th.
Weather permitting.
Yeah, I doubt we'll get it in.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I'm being realistic.
I know. We all are. But then again, if we say that, it's going to be sunny and 75 that day.
That's what
and we're all going to be racing.
Reverse psychology.
Ooh. You are messing with Mother
It'll
Nature.
be like every year, I'll hope that we get one more week off of racing so I can
I
get
know.
my stuff done.
Yeah. You're going to need it. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Finding
Thanks,
a home
Jack.
can be
Appreciate
the
you coming
most
on the show.
important decision in your life. It's the simple factors of neighborhood, garage size, the school district, and commute that get overlooked by most realtors. Those are the aspects that Jim Blazina has been focusing on since 1988. From rental properties to your forever home, the Racing Realtor will work hard to get you exactly what you're looking for, and he can help list your home for a speedy sale. Contact Jim Blazina today, 402-980-8400, or jblazina@npdodge.com.
We all have that coworker that runs their mouth off at how great they are. They shot a 5 under par, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, bench press 375, brah. Wouldn't you love to shut them up by schooling them at Joe's Karting? Council Bluffs' premier indoor karting track, professionally designed so each corner is your opportunity to embarrass your coworker. Call Buddy for your next company outing at 712-256-5278. Joe's Karting, white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue next to AMC 17.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole of the front stretch and the home of MAV TV, featuring action from the Lucas Oil Late Model Series.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Located on Mid-America Drive in Council Bluffs.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to it, race fans. Time to get set for the 2019 sprint car season. We're going to kick things off talking with Stan Cisar, the voice of the raceway, working weekly at I-80 Speedway and Eagle Raceway, and then also helping with the touring series for the Sprint Series of Nebraska and the Nebraska 360. This interview brought to you by Red Oak Fabrication, located just down the road in Red Oak, Iowa. You can find them online, redoakfabrication.com. $275 for a bare frame powder coating job on your chassis. If you need to have any reworking done or sandblasting done, it's going to be just a little bit more for the time and labor. Give Jordan a call today, 712-623-4911, or you can email him, jordanf@redoakfabrication.com. I always feel like I'm bleeping a cuss word when I say that. Oh, jordanf@redoakfabrication.com. Give him a call today or shoot him an email.
You need anything blasted, call Jordan.
Sprint Series in Nebraska going to make its return in 2019. Kind of took 2018 off because it kind of felt like the 305 series was starting to take hold a little bit in the area, and I think the promoter was a little overworked.
That's a very good possibility. Plus, a couple other tracks were starting to race the Race Saver 305s on a weekly basis, and they wanted to try to get that built. Didn't want to spread the drivers and competitors too thin, to make sure everybody got a good field. But some tracks have expressed the interest of wanting to have the 305s on the card, and this year. And I think personally, I think it's a great idea because Cody Ledger, that drives my car, has got a pretty full schedule, and it didn't leave a lot of racing for us last year. But this year we're going to be able to make most of those on the tour, as well as a couple of weekly shows.
Well, I think a lot of drivers were interested in it coming back, too, because, Stu Snyder talked about it, and he's going to be joining us right now. He talked about it really, to improve as a driver, you really have to hit a lot of tracks. You can't expect to become a big-time talented driver if you're only racing at one track.
You don't want to be a one-trick pony, as
right.
they say.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're excited about this, Stu?
Yeah, I think it was exciting to hear that it was going to come back because, yeah, we've got other, traveling 305 series that we can go run, but, working a full-time job and trying to run as many races as we're trying to run on our schedule this year, we couldn't really get down to run a whole lot of the, like the Oklahoma series or the URSS series, so it was nice to see it come back.
And that's the nice thing, with the exception of the race up at Park Jefferson in Sioux City. They're pretty close drive for most of the guys that are racing in our area from around here. And when we do go to that race, that's going to bring in a bunch of different drivers that don't necessarily make it all the way down to our races down here, but from the Sioux Falls and Minnesota area up around that neck of the woods, they'll all be there at Park Jefferson. So it should be a good night of racing up there too.
I mentioned a little bit that it's a lot of work to put these series together, and I really do feel for guys like Roger and Dennis Parker with the Nebraska 360 series, and Joe and Lisa with the Malvern Bank series. It's one thing to put your schedule together for your track because you can kind of determine what you want to do, but when you're doing a touring series like this, you're at the mercy of a lot of tracks and waiting on their schedules to get put together. And they express interest. They want you to come, but can you make it work? Are you crowbarring something together to where it looks nice or you want it to work, but then when you actually try to execute it, it doesn't work for anybody. So it's a lot of work putting these schedules together.
And talk just a little bit. I know, Stu, you're planning on running a pretty full schedule between your 360 cars and the weekly 305 stuff, plus the touring 305 stuff. So and what it takes budget-wise to be able to try to make all those shows.
Yeah, for sure. I think my tax lady finally put me on a budget this year after I seen her a couple of weeks ago because we're just spending too much money to try and go do it. So, you got to be careful on how far you're going to travel to go run some of the 305 touring shows. You got to make sure that it pays pretty good to start. That way, for sure you've got some bills covered already, and then you go out there and race for the wins. But you got to make sure that first dollar that you're spending putting diesel in the truck or the fuel in the race cars is kind of covered before you hit the road.
Yep, that's very true.
Jack Dover talked about that a few years ago on the show that he figures that it costs him about $1,000 to drop his tailgate at a track. Do you know what it's costing your operation to run? Have you kind of figured it down to that point, or you got an estimate?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's about $850. You throw in a couple pit passes, you're at about $900 to drop the door on the back of the trailer for the 360, and we're pretty close to $500.
Probably in the
$500. I think we figured it up. The tax lady did, of course, because I don't like looking at numbers of money, the amount of money that we're spending. But I think we're right at $540 to drop the door on a 305.
And that's kind of the little nicer thing about certain aspects of the 305 class is the engines do seem to last a little bit longer between freshens.
Yeah.
So your per lap cost is down just a little bit. The tires seem to last pretty good. Not only are they a little less expensive to begin with, but their durability seems to be really, really good. And but there's certain pit passes and diesel fuel and that type of thing. That's the same whether you're running 305 or a 360 or a 410.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you talk about those traveling series, it's that traveling word. You guys we're all kind of sitting here talking about that. That's what really begins to rack up the cost of the sport. It's one thing to sit there at Eagle and race it 12, 14 nights for weekly, and you might damage your car 3 or 4 times. That pales in comparison to when you go and race a 20 or 25 or talk about a World of Outlaw Sprint Tour series that you're racing, scheduling 105 nights, and you'll get 90 of them in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, the money that we spend just in diesel alone, if you're hitting that many shows, you've got to make sure you're covering that on the back door.
And I know a lot of people listening to the show have been noticing the price is starting to creep back up again. Yeah. Over the wintertime, end of last year, beginning of this year, we saw some nice prices for gasoline for me, sitting down around $1.99, $1.89, $2.
Yeah, and I think
and
diesel
now
was like at $2.39, and now it's back up too.
Yeah, it's starting to creep back up again. So
and then the traveling's got the motel bills added in there if you're too far from home too.
Yeah.
That's what's really kind of nice about the way they've got these deals. Right now, we're primarily talking about the Sprint Series of Nebraska. Most of those races within a drive because and a lot of them on the week, a couple of them on weekdays, a lot of them on the Friday night, type of thing where somebody's got to get back because they're going to race again on Saturday. They keep it pretty close. Keep it pretty close, so it's a little more affordable for the average guy. And the way the purse setup is, if you can, the starting money is good if you happen to make the feature, and even if you don't. If you don't tear anything up, you're going to cover some of your expenses, so you can get back tomorrow night. But let's talk just a little bit about the tracks and where we're going when this thing gets started.
I just want to kind of point this out too. We kind of kicked off this segment kind of a gloomy, talking about how expensive it is, but it's such a great thing because tracks like US 36 Raceway and Park Jefferson and US 30 Speedway, they don't have to schedule full-time sprint cars for their fans to be able to enjoy them. They can have series like the Nebraska 360s and the Sprint Series of Nebraska come in on a couple of nights throughout the year and give their fans that satisfaction of a sprint car race.
In which, in some cases, for some tracks, is a great idea because, quite frankly, some tracks that are probably even running them or trying to run them on a weekly basis are having a hard time having that thing take off, but they still want to have sprint car racing. And the other nice factor is, because of the way the scheduling is, they're kind of trying to miss everybody else's schedule. So when you go to a Sprint Series of Nebraska race, you're going to see the best of the best, and you're going to see the 360s usually aren't running that night. So a lot of guys that do double duty, like Stu or Cody Ledger or Jack Dover, even Tyler Drucke, sounds like he's going to do some 360 racing this year. Jason Martin, you're going to have the best of those guys all the good guys are going to be there at those shows. For sure. At Eagle on a Saturday night, you're going to have guys that'll drop in on occasion, as well as the regulars that race there weekly. But it's almost the cream of the crop of the 3 or 5 guys are going to be on that tour. So those are the ones you don't want to miss.
The tour kicks off this year, Friday, March 29th at US 36 Raceway in Osborne, Missouri. That's Cameron, correct?
Cameron, Missouri. It's about 20 miles just direct east of St. Joe, Missouri, just off I-29. Pretty easy to get to.
So not too bad a tow.
No, couple-hour drive.
I've volunteered my services for the Ledger operation that night. We'll see if team president and CEO Tracy Ledger accepts my proposal. But
you're working on their car, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. I want to make sure.
I was going to say, is he working on Stan's car?
They'll be running both. They'll be running both cars that night.
Stan says, I've watched him work in a booth. I don't want him touching my car.
I didn't know anything
Stan
about that.
was going to fire you before you even signed in that night.
I just thought you were going to fetch beer.
Hey, by the way, while I'm thinking about it, I got to say, hell of a job on our banner. We're sitting out here at the Precise Racing Products Open House.
Swing the cameras over there, guys.
Was that on Tuesday? I called you and said, hey, I'm going to pull a total driver thing on you, and I need a banner done by Friday. And you said,
we don't do that, do we?
Get me the logos, get me the design. I'll get it turned around for you.
No, the drivers call on Friday and said, I need a car done by tonight.
By Saturday.
Or they order everything and then they bring the car to you Friday night and you get to work every night. But anyways, I just wanted to say, heck of a job. Action Science and Speedway Graphics, you guys did an awesome job. Not only just building the banner, getting it done on time, but reworking it so it did exactly what we needed it to do. Our logo didn't really work great with the way that it needed to look on a banner, and you guys did a great job redesigning it a little bit and making it fit. So thank you for that. Great job. And now we can get back to talking about that race weekend.
Get back to racing. That's going to be a great race. They're going to have the wingless auto racing non-wing sprints down there in the house that night, along with the Sprint Series of Nebraska and maybe one other support class, Mud Turtle or whatever.
Yeah, Mud Turtle. I think they're going to have a class. I mean, modified.
That's classic. I love that. But and then the following night they're going to do it all over again. The second night of that Rumble in the Bull Ring is going to be right here at Eagle Raceway, and we're just keeping fingers and toes crossed that Mother Nature cooperates between now and then. That's right. That's going to be coming up the last week of March. And we're hoping some of this white stuff is gone by then.
That's one of the neat things I was noticing here looking at the schedule. You start out with a back-to-back. There's not another back-to-back until the last 2 races of the season. I think that's pretty cool on that scheduling.
Yep.
Go over to I-80 Speedway after that for the Saturday night race. That would be the Spring Meltdown race weekend, the Friday and Saturday, or the Bug Eater.
The Bug Eater Bash. That's all the weekly classes at I-80 are racing that night, and this year Joe decided to add the Sprint Series of Nebraska. He's been wanting to run some 305 shows and just could never get the schedule worked out with Roger and everything, and now that the tour is back on board, we're going to be racing at I-80 3 times, and I know a lot of guys looking forward to that.
After the I-80 race on Saturday, April 13th, come back the following week, Saturday, April 20th at Eagle Raceway, and then you're back on the 25th at Eagle Raceway for a Thursday night race.
Yeah, and that'll be another great event down there. It's going to be a Thursday night. They're bringing in the American Sprint Car Series. The ASCS National Tour is coming with the 360s, and the SSN 305s will be on the bill that night. So for sprint car fans, this is great, and the fact that there's that much sprint car racing going on in this area, and we're just getting started.
Friday, May 10th, you're down at US 36 Raceway, coming back to the track that kicks it all off for the 2019 schedule. Then you hit US 30 in Columbus on Thursday, May 23rd for a nice big race weekend.
Yeah, and we're hoping Mother Nature cooperates. We had 4 races scheduled 2 years ago at US 30, and I think 3 out of the 4 of them fell to rain, but we're hoping Bobby Lincoln and the crew down there is doing a great job of getting that place back up and running, and looking forward to the first of our 3 races this season down there.
My favorite race, the Charlie Clark Memorial. You guys were added to that schedule at I-80 Speedway for Sunday, May 26th, the day before Memorial Day weekend. Big ad for you for that series. A big crowd, and you're going to be with the Mud Turtles.
Yeah, plenty of Mud Turtles, but that being said, that's been a very prestigious event, and because it's primarily IMCA classes racing that night, the fact that the Race Saver 305s are an IMCA sanctioned class, they were added to that bill, and it's a perfect fit, and I think it's going to be a great show for our guys. And once again, on a Sunday night that a lot of other tracks might not be running, it opens up the door to some travelers coming in the 305 deal. I think there are national points on the line that night, so it'd be a great show.
By the way, any modified drivers or modified fans that are a little upset with us, we keep joking and calling them the Mud Turtles. You want to take any complaints to Chad Cook,
yeah, for sure,
who is now friends with Stu Snyder. He came up from Texas. I mean, what do you expect from a Texas guy coming up with mean slangs, mean things to say like that to our modified friends? So we're just giving them a hard time. We love all the classes that come and race with us. But Sunday, May 26th, making the second of 3 appearances at I-80 Speedway for the Charlie Clark Memorial. Then, like Dirk mentioned, you guys taking a couple of weeks off. Come back Friday, June 14th at US 36.
Yep, US 36 back at Cameron. I think that's our 3rd race down there of the season, and it's a pretty racy little joint. If people haven't been there, it's pretty much very similar to Eagle Raceway. It's a high banked. They got some really good black dirt down there, and the cars hustle around there pretty fast. And the 305s should put on a great show down there.
Then you've got Tuesday, July 2nd is your first race at Park Jefferson for 2019. Just one race down at Park Jefferson this year, and that's going to be on a Tuesday night, July 2nd race.
They do race. They've got a lot of 360 specials up at Park Jefferson. Plus, they race the 305 Race Saver cars weekly up there on Saturday nights. So I think it's going to be a great race. Looking forward to being up there, and it's going to kick off 4th of July weekend.
Coming back the day after 4th of July, which according to my math and calendar, that is Friday, July 5th. US 36 Raceway in Osborne. That's going to be the final appearance at US 36. Come back August 8th for the 3rd appearance at US 30 on August 8th. And then back at I-80 Speedway for the Speedy Bill Smith Memorial on Saturday night, September 7th. Close things off Sunday, September 8th at Eagle Raceway.
I think...
No, the 7th is the Fall Brawl.
I think the Fall Brawl.
Yeah.
That's going to be another deal where they'll be running 2 classes of sprint cars going on. They'll be running the Nebraska 360s as well as the SSN Race Saver 305s, and it'll be first of 2 nights. That was always kind of a 2 or 3 night swing, that Fall Brawl weekend, and the what do they call it, the Nebraska Cup at Eagle Raceway, the annual Nebraska Cup race, and that's one we let get away a couple years ago, but hopefully we can be competitive in that one. We had a little tough luck last year, but it'll be a good season, and I think everybody's looking forward to it. The guys that like to travel and race a little bit more often, they've got the opportunity to do so this year, and it'll be great to get a little bit more exposure for the Race Saver 305 guys, and partner up with the 360s on quite a number of occasions, and that's going to make it great for the area sprint car fans.
Sprint Series of Nebraska. You can follow them on the Facebook page. They've got all the events going on and a full list of schedule, as well as they'll be featuring some of the drivers coming up in the 2019 schedule. Moving over to the Nebraska Carpetland Nebraska 360 Series powered by Malvern Bank, kicking things off April 5th. Fingers crossed at I-80 Speedway for a doubleheader weekend.
5th and 6th, always a great show, along with the Malvern Bank Late Model Series. The Nebraska 360s kick off the season with a doubleheader both years, and usually gets a pretty good field of cars and some pretty fast racing going on. The air is always good this time of year, and probably them guys will be getting around that place about as fast as they ever do.
Moving over to Park Jefferson about 20 days later after that on April 26th for the first of two nights at, the first of a doubleheader night at Park Jefferson, running back-to-back that night. And that's kind of nice. When Dennis kind of scheduled these, especially when he goes to a track like Park Jefferson, likes to run doubleheaders so that way you're hauling up there once and staying for two nights, and you can stay in that nice warm toter.
And you spend one towing bill to get there.
Right.
That's also the South Dakota Nationals, I believe.
Yes, and that's a pretty good payoff. $10,000 to win on night number 2 of that for the 360s. That's going to ensure a great field of cars up there. Last year, Eric Lutz, I believe, picked up the win.
Wow. Back at I-80 Speedway on May 3rd for the Bobby Parker Memorial. Very special race for the Nebraska 360 class.
Yep. Dennis Parker's dad was a great racer. He's a Nebraska Auto Racing Hall of Fame member, and he raced everything from midgets. He was a great midget racer, raced stock cars. He was the first ever points champion at Sunset Speedway back in 1957. Raced super modifieds over at Knoxville for a number of years and everything. And it's a race in his honor, and always one that's very, very special because of everybody's friendship with Dennis, and it's a race that everybody wants to win.
Park Jefferson on May 11th, then Junction Motor Speedway on the 18th, doing kind of a weekly deal here. And then back at Park Jefferson for May 25th with the a partnership between the Nebraska 360s and the MSTS 360 Sprint Series.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good deal, and Stu can mention that. He's got some friends from up Minnesota, South Dakota also that run that MSTS series. They've got a pretty good series up there going on. All the Jackson, Minnesota races are going to be sanctioned by those guys this year. One thing you might not be hearing on going through the schedule for the Nebraska 360s is the fact that a lot of those races that are up north are scheduled on the Saturday night following a race at Jackson. So there again, you're talking about guys that want to go to Jackson, even though it's not a Nebraska 360 points race. A lot of guys want to go to Jackson on Friday night. They can make that trip, stop at Park Jefferson or at Off-Road Speedway in Norfolk or someplace on the way back,
Yeah, and you mentioned to kind of come back around to that Nebraska 360 MSTS partnering up for quite a few of those Park Jefferson races. The May 3rd Bobby Parker Memorial at I-80 Speedway. Again, Park Jefferson back there. So, yeah, and then come back on June 1st, the first appearance at Knoxville Raceway.
Yeah, and I think they raced twice over at Knoxville, and it's a great opportunity for our guys to be able to go over and race at Knoxville a couple times during the year. And
that track's got a little prestige.
Oh yeah, and it's got some personality too.
Yeah, for sure.
How many times you've raced at Knoxville a couple of times?
Yeah, we ran there. We ran pretty good over there 2 years ago.
Ran 360 Nationals.
Yeah, ran 360 Nationals, qualified 4th, and had a good showing there. And I think a weekly night we ran pretty decent over there. Won a heat, ran in the top 4 or top 5 or something like that. But it's definitely a fun place to go, and it's a track that you want to win at.
And you were talking about different driving styles and different.
It's different.
That's the track that you need to really keep the car straight.
Yeah.
And it's
the
all
dirty
about
air.
Well, there's guys who have been racing there for 10 or 15 years, haven't got it figured out yet.
It's a tough joint to run at. And
so after that June 1st race at Knoxville, back at Junction Motor Speedway on June 8th, and then you make your first appearance off-road raceway in Norfolk with the MSTS series.
And that's one of those races that's on a Saturday night that is usually will catch guys coming back from the trip over to Jackson on a Friday night for an MSTS Midwest Power Series event.
I didn't mention it. Sorry, you're right. That's June 22nd on a Saturday night. Then Shelby County Speedway. Love seeing those Southwest Iowa tracks.
And that's going to be, unfortunately, I'm going to be announcing down at Eagle, but having announced it at Shelby County for quite a number of years, man, I think the sprint cars are going to fly around that place.
Taking a couple of weeks off back at Knoxville Raceway for the second of 2 appearances on July 20th. Then the Speedy Bill Smith Memorial at I-80 Speedway on August 28th.
Between those two, we sandwich in a couple little events, the 360 Nationals and the 410 of
Oh, and don't forget to throw in the Belleville 305 Nationals on top of that. The same weekend.
All that stuff going on those first couple of weeks in August. So everything else else kind of comes to a screeching halt in our area.
You take 20 days off, and then you're back at it again. So July 20th at Knoxville, August 23rd at I-80, August 24th at Off-Road Speedway, and then you're back at I-80 Speedway for the final time on September 7th for the Midwest Fall Brawl.
Yep, and that's always a big race, always a good event.
That Fall Brawl has been a special race for a long time. Moved to a one-day show a couple of years ago, and it's been there ever since. And a Nebraska 360 show and a great race for the series in a lot of supporting classes.
And always usually a good car comp for that race, because by that time most of the other tracks are closed and guys are looking for a place to race. So, quite a few Knoxville regulars make the trip over, and cars from Minnesota, South Dakota. So
something we haven't got to say for a very long time, Nebraska 360s at Eagle Raceway for the Nebraska Cup on September 8th.
That's right, folks. Hell has officially frozen over.
That is correct. And I can't be more excited about that.
And personally speaking, I think it's a great deal, because I think there's room for both, and I think it's going to treat the fans to a great night of sprint car racing. And like I said, it's a tick difference. I mean, less like 6,800ths, I think, is the difference between the ASCS 360 lap record and the Race Saver 305 lap record at Eagle Raceway. So it just goes to show you that the competition level is up there to begin with, and then you bring in the guys that are just that much faster, and the reaction time's a little bit closer, and it just makes it that much more exciting for the fans.
Close off the season October 5th at US 36 Raceway for the season finale.
Yep, that's down at Cameron, Missouri. Once again, we kicked the season off down there and finished the season up down there at Cameron, and hopefully it's going to be a great year for all the sprint car racing, and go from there.
Usually that the Nebraska 360 schedule ends at the Midwest Fall Brawl, but added 2 more dates to the end of the schedule.
I think, and I was going to say, I think they have a big 360 special down there toward the end of the year at Cameron every year, and I think Dennis just got to be a part of it this year. So.
Now, between the Nebraska 360s and the SSN and the ASCS and the World of Outlaws, there is a lot of sprint car action in the area.
Power Eyes. Well, no World of Outlaws in this area for the closest you get to is Knoxville, but we do have 410 racing in the state of Nebraska once again with the Power Eye series.
Yep, and like I say, and the nice thing about it, that's why a guy like Chad's got to say, hey, there's a lot of racing going on up in Nebraska and a lot of tracks, and they love sprint cars up there, and that's where I want to be. And
they got
we're glad to have him up there. You do have to put up with some mud turtles though.
Yeah,
you got to put up with a lot more up here than just mud turtles. All right, that's going to do it for us. We're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Nebraska's greatest hot rod show returns to Omaha with fun for the whole family. The O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, March 15th through 17th at the CHI Health Center, the place to find the country's hottest customs and wild show cars. See Hop Up Magazine's traditional rod and custom section, presented by the Rebels Car Club of Omaha, and watch the legendary Gene Winfield work his skills in the Summit Racing Equipment Chop Shop. World of Wheels is way more than a car show. There's live music from Clarence Tilton and from Lloyd McCarter and the Honky Tonk Revival. On Friday, meet WWE superstar Becky Lynch. Saturday, it's NASCAR legend Tony Stewart. Smoke is in the house. And see our awesome Pinup Girl contest. Sunday, it's John Schneider, Bo Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard. The O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels. This weekend at the CHI Health Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts, part of the Summit Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See worldofwheels.com for more info.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
Hey, look at that. You're sitting on your couch playing Halo, Madden, or NASCAR while your friends are at Joe's Karting. Each lap is an adrenaline-filled, heart-pumping, white-knuckle experience that you can only get at the Metro's largest indoor karting track. Eco-friendly Honda engines rip you around the professionally designed road course at breakneck speeds. Can you reach the 14-second lap bracket? There's only one way to find out. Put the controller down and get to Joe's Karting, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs next to Quaker Steak and Lube.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Welcome back to the front stretch, rolling into turn number 4, presented by Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Don't forget to get over to Quaker Steak and Lube and enjoy all of the NASCAR action with some of the best wings in the area, as well as burgers, steaks, and ice-cold beers. I believe I saw the sauce of the month the other night while I was in there getting dinner is garlic parmesan.
I just like the fact that you say beers, not ice-cold beer, beers. Plural.
Yeah. What's a beer? What is that? Get over to Quaker Steak and Lube today. All of the green flag action for today's race at ISM Raceway, formerly known as Phoenix Raceway, will be on the big screens at 1:30. Your picks are due by 2:30 today for the Pick'ems contest presented by Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners. Well, we talked in turn 1 with Doc Riley about the World of Wheels coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the CHI Center. Your opportunity to win a family 4-pack. Dirk, what's our trivia question for today?
Who is the primary sponsor for the World of Wheels?
Who is the sponsor for the World of Wheels? I know there's a bunch of them, but who's the big one? It's the blank World of Wheels car show at the CHI Center. We talked all about it in turn number 1, so call up 402-573-0590, 402-573-0590. First person to answer that trivia question correctly is going to win a family 4-pack to this Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Now, you got 4 tickets. You and a friend could go twice, or you and the family could go once if you got 4 friends. So, or 3 friends, actually, since you can get in, but it's for either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. All right, 402-573-0590. First person to answer that trivia question, who is the primary sponsor for the World of Wheels this year at the CHI Center, it gets a family 4-pack to that said show. All right, we've had a huge show, but we've got a little bit left to go. I want to talk a little bit about Phoenix Raceway, but before we get to that, Dirk, it's time to finally announce our 5-week contest.
1 week away, we are doing the Crewman for a Day contest yet again, and this will be the first of probably 3 for the year. Send us an email over here, and we'll get you on the list. If you're already in the fantasy contest, you'll get the email about it, and it's a 5-week contest. We'll start with Auto Club Speedway. It's quite an interesting ordeal.
It really is, and I have a lot of fun watching the fans that have gone through and done these, and really I think the thing that I take away from it is that they have no idea how much of a circus NASCAR really is. It's amazing when you sit back and watch all of these worker ants, and that's not degrading them at all, but that's, if you look over top, there's all these guys running around, getting parts, pushing the car, getting tires, setting up stuff, running back and forth between the hauler. There's cooks, there's cleaners, there's drivers, there's support crew, there's over-the-wall guys, there's tech engineers, there's support staff from the manufacturers. I mean, it is a circus, and that's not even counting the thousands of fans that are down in the garage. Now, where you set yourself apart winning this contest is that you're going to get that experience all weekend long. A lot of people can buy into the garage passes and the hot tours on race day on Saturday, but you get to be there on Friday watching as the team is really down in the trenches and setting up the car, making adjustments, and having conversations. Thanks to Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners, we are able to offer this contest for free. Just send us an email, frontstretchradio@gmail.com. You can get signed up. Race number 1 is next weekend at Auto Club Speedway. It's a 5-week contest. The person with the most amount of points at the end of the contest wins the grand prize. We have 6 tiebreakers, thanks to learning a hard lesson a little during the October race at Kansas. And then also second place to 5th place is going to win a pair of tickets to both Friday's Truck Series race and Saturday's Cup Series race. So that'll be a great experience. It's absolutely free. frontstretchradio@gmail.com. Last year, this time, we went to Phoenix Raceway, newly renamed ISM Raceway, and it looks like Kyle Busch won stage number 1, Kurt Busch won stage number 2, but Kevin Harvick was the big winner on the day, picking up the win, 53 points on the day, so he was the big points gainer, even though he only finished 2nd in stage 1 and 7th in stage number 2. We have discussed this a couple of times. I don't believe this was the race that he got busted at.
No, he did not get busted at Phoenix.
This is the race that he came back and pounded on the roof in excitement and in jubilation, because he won in Atlanta. He won at Las Vegas and failed inspection, and then he won it at Phoenix. So this was one of the third of the winning streaks, although the second one was kind of taken away, except for the notch in the record book. We haven't seen any tech issues so far. 3 races in, I think that's the longest we went last year.
Just some lug nuts. Interesting caveat from the last race, though, is no on-track incidents, no yellow flags on the track. It was the first time since 2002.
And just a couple of weeks ago, we were at Daytona and finished with 19 cars on the track.
Something like that.
16 on the lead lap. So this time last year, Kevin Harvick picked up the win and was able to get his third in a row for the 2018 season. He went on later that fall. Kevin Harvick finished 5th on the day. Kyle Busch picked up the win after finishing 7th in Stage 1 and winning Stage number 2. Just for your notes, Chase Elliott was the one who won Stage number 1, and that was the fall race at ISM Raceway. Also worth noting today, the 2019 Aero package or rules package is no longer in effect at this race. The cars will be at full 750 horsepower, and they will not have the Aero ducts that have been added this year. So since it is a smaller track, they're going to remove those packages and let them go back to racing with full power and the Aero ducts. So that it should still be a great race. I'm really excited about it because I want to see what we can do with these guys getting back to full horsepower after a couple of races of being away. Like we mentioned, the race is on the big screens at Quaker Steak and Lube. Coverage is on Fox and MRN at 1:30. All the picks are due by 2:30, and I believe the green flag is set to wave just shortly after that. Make sure to get your picks in on time. Email us frontstretchradio@gmail.com if you have any issues. Thank you so much to Doc Riley for joining us in turn number 1 to talk about the World of Wheels car show. Jack Dover in turn number 2, and Stan Cisar for previewing the Sprint Series of Nebraska and the Nebraska 360 schedule for 2019. That's going to do it for this weekend. We'll be back next weekend to do it all over again. Full race recap from ISM Raceway. Adam Golian's going to join us. Probably one of my favorite interviews because we didn't just talk about the car and what he's doing. We got really personal and down deep inside Adam's head. He's a bit of a fiery guy and a little bit of a lightning rod. So I think even if you don't like Adam Golian, you should make sure to listen to that interview because I think it's going to open up some eyes. Ryan Kitchen's going to join us in turn number 3 next weekend, and then we will preview Auto Club Speedway and get you all set for any races to come the next couple of weeks. Not to mention the Pick'ems contest. 5 weeks Pick'em contest starts next weekend, so get signed up for that. Thanks everybody for joining us. For Dirk Houston, I'm Dan Taylor. This has been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
The official watering hole of The Front Stretch has you covered any day of the week with the best wings, great burgers, and amazing steaks. Each weekday from 4 to 6 is happy hour, featuring $1 off draft and well drinks plus $4 Luberitas. Mondays are kids' night. Tuesdays are all-you-can-eat wings for $12.95, and the lube even delivers to the Council Bluffs area. Like Quaker Steak and Lube Council Bluffs on Facebook for a full list of weekly events.
Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Mid-America Drive, Council Bluffs.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. To contact Dan or Dirk, find them on Facebook at The Front Stretch or email them at frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you missed any part of today's show or want to hear a previous show, subscribe to the Joe's Karting YouTube page where you can find almost every Front Stretch show.